What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our dbus implementation. We are working on this because we are working on a window manager who needs to acquire resources from the system. So the window manager, he has to say, hey, I want to render to the screen, right? But the screen is like controlled by my GPU. There's one GPU for like my whole computer, right? So if multiple users are trying to talk to this thing, somebody needs to negotiate access to that thing, right? If they could all just cooperate, but you need to at the very least be able to say, hey, users, who's using the GPU right now? Oh, you? Could you let go, please, sir, please? And the way that this is handled on at least my system is through this program called systemd login D. Ew, gross. System D. Blech. But whatever. It is what it is. This guy's job is kind of to like manage logins, right? Hand wavy, right? So every user who logs into this thing, they're going to call like the Linux authentication stuff, PAM, it's called. PAM is going to say she's going to deny us entry or let us in, depending on if, we type the right password and stuff. But then she's also going to say like, hey, system D told me to like do some stuff. So I'm going to do that as well. And one of those things that he's going to do is he's going to like talk dbus to login D. Dbus is like a protocol, kind of hand wavy. We'll get there. But he's going to like talk to system D login D to say, new session, please. Right? And now that we have this session, we, as the window manager, can say, hey, I'm this session. You can authenticate me however the fuck you want. But like, I'm this session. Could I please get like GPU now, please? GPU? Right? And the way that we ask this guy for the GPU is through dbus, right? So there's like some Unix socket sitting somewhere else controlled by some other process. These are kind of like running as like root over here. Root. Root. But there's like some like bus here. And so what we do is we connect to this bus. We say, we like authenticate with this thing. We register ourselves with him in some way. And then say like, hey, could you ask this guy for a handle to the GPU? And then he'll send a handle back kind of like this way to us. And so we need to speak this protocol, dbus. And that's why we're working on it. So, if we were saying we would use libdbus like everyone else, but we don't want to do that. We want to write it from scratch. And where we're at right now is if I run zig build and zig out bin dbus, we have us talking to not this bus. There's actually another bus. There's also like everything running as my user. There's also like a bus here that like things like Spotify will connect to, so that like when I click over here and we show this thing, hold on, let me turn my camera. So that if I click on like this button here, like this is all information coming over dbus right now, right? So like Spotify, window, like Kwin, there's like services exposed on like the user bus as well. And so what we have right now is an example of us connecting to that user bus and sending a single message. Today, I want to take our ability to send packets to this thing and kind of design a library that allows us to send and receive arbitrary information to arbitrary processes, right? So if I type qdbus, which is, something that just happens to be installed in my system, if I look at maybe Spotify was in here last time somewhere. Spotify, yeah, here. So if I go like, qdbus, let me look at Spotify, please. And can I look at maybe the media player interface? He can see, we can do things like pause and play on this guy. So like, there's kind of like this idea of a dbus connection, but at like a sub level, there's the idea of a media player API, right? And so if I want to issue pause and play, or if I want to ask the media player, hey, like what is playing right now? These are all things that I need to have like a function in my code base for that like is abstracted over this dbus connection in some way. So the goal for today is to try to figure out how to do this, right? So probably the first thing we want to do is figure out how to like interact, like how to interact with Spotify. I think that's kind of where I want to start. Then we might be able to send some sort of uh like do some like code gen to figure out how to do that, but we have to like make a library of some form, find some APIs, etc., etc. But let's just start by trying to send a pause request to Spotify, and if we can figure that out, then we'll be in a pretty good spot to design an API around it. Um, so I did a little bit of off-stream cleanup yesterday. I refactored this thing into something that uses an event loop. So I have a dbus connection thing now. So theoretically, this dbus connection goes through like initializing state and then like where he's, figuring out he's doing things like sending auth request, he's waiting for, some replies, and eventually he goes into like he says hello, and then we're ready to talk. What serialization does it use? JSON? Custom. So it's basically like packed, aligned binary data, hand wavy, with some like headers and shit. With some headers and shit. So I guess what we need to do is we need to figure out, once we have said hello, what can we do? So what I think I want to do is, can we use QDBus to like send information? Or I guess there's like dbus send as well. Dbus send is like the utility I've seen. Oh, we can also call this thing. Okay, so if I call QDBus this, and I call pause? No. Is it this? Okay, that paused the music. Let's play it again. So I think that I guess what we should do here is we should figure out how QDBus does this thing. And maybe that will give us some information, right? So can we do our like strace here of this thing again? And let's just run him like actually talking to a real guy. And let's just try to figure out like, hello? Oh, maybe it's like this. So there was like send message is what we saw at some point. Let's not hex format this right now, just so that we can like look for which message kind of correlates. So we're looking for something that's like MP Spotify, right? Here. So down here at line like 590 in this trace, can we trace only send message calls? That might be easier. How do we, like, there's an strace filter, right? -E trace equals, can we just do this? Like, we do like -E trace equals send message. Does that work a little better? Yeah, that's nice. Nice. Okay, so we see here, this is him sending that first hello message that we saw. Then he immediately starts trying to talk to Spotify, right? We see something about this like MPRIS Spotify thing. Here, I think we see him calling this thing called introspectable. So it might be interesting to see what this thing means. This is probably him trying to check if the thing that we called is available on the API. That would be my guess. I would guess that this gives us back. In fact, we can probably just check, right? If we run QDBus, it was org. What was it? Like, can we just call this? Like, no strace, no anything. Can we just call this and see what happens? No. Okay, so he's calling that introspectable on this object path, org mprs media player 2, with interface org media Spotify. This must be API, maybe with .introspect as the function call. So maybe it's like this. Yeah, okay. So he is calling this function, which returns an XML interface of all of the functions that this thing supports, I guess, in some way. F? Are we crashing? I think it looks fine. So that's so QDBus is doing some like validation. Oopsies. That we don't have to do, right? So we can skip this. This isn't important. I don't think. Then he does something like, let me add match. Interesting. So he's talking to the root of the bus, probably, and he's saying something about add match. So can we look at the dbus root API? Can we where is this? It's org free desktop dbus, this thing. Somewhere we've struggled to find this a few times. Ooh, but I guess now that we know about this introspectable thing, we could say fuck this and this free desktop dbus. So this is the interface of the root object. And what is add match on here? Add match. Yes, but it doesn't tell us what it does. So that's not helpful. Okay, here we go. Add match. Add a match rule. Will cause you to receive messages that aren't directed to you, which will match this rule. Interesting. So he, for some reason, is probably, I assume that this is QDBus again, just doing some like QDBus shit, where they're kind of saying like, hey, can you just like, I just want to like observe stuff that happens. Maybe. Then he's calling get name owner as well. What does that do? Get the connection unique name that owns the given name. This might be required depending on what the next part is, right? Because here, it might be that you need a unique ID to talk to anyone specifically. So here he's saying, hey, I want to know who owns Spotify, right? He's passing the argument Spotify in the body, I think, is what we're seeing here. Okay. Then, eventually, what happens after that? Here, looks like he's calling the actual play thing, and then he does some cleanup. So as far as I'm concerned, it feels like you could just insta rip a pause, like from where we're at right now. I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that. Unless we find out that we need a name. So I think this is the packet that we want to inspect and see if we can understand. I think that actually, the way that we're set up right now, we might be able to just rip this packet through our parser and see what it comes out with. And that might tell us something interesting. So this is okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking for the 5th message, okay? Remember that, 5th message. Don't let me fucking forget. strace, because we're going to turn back on the like hex formatting. 1, what was it, 6? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually already forgot. Python 3. This says play. It was this one. Maybe dbus uses that introspectable method is for code completion. Oh yeah, it could be. I didn't try that, but if you spam tab, maybe. Okay, so we have this string copied to our keyboard, and can we go into maybe main here? And can we do something like parse this message just off rip? Okay. dbus message reader. How does this thing work? We have a position in a reader. So we can just go like pause is 0, reader is stood IO fixed, reader fixed. Oh, maybe this has to be like this. Message reader, like this. And then can we do like, oh, it's actually more like this. It's like a dbus. Do we call it a header right now? Where is what? How do we fucking parse messages right now? We call message parse. Okay. So I think it's like this. Parsed is like this, and return. Can we just like std debug print this? Let's see how lucky we are. Maybe we can parse this already. Oh, sick. Everything just kind of fucking worked. Right, so now we just have all of the parameters associated with this thing. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay. So all we have to do is take this thing and rip that shit over the bus, right? Okay, so how do we do that? It looks like there are things that are kind of like implicit that I, as a caller, do not care about, right? I, as the caller of this function, really probably care about this. Really is really most of it, right? So we probably want to do something like, we want to say, like, it would be, I guess, like connection call is kind of the play here, right? And with like this stuff, right? Oopsies. Right, so we have this thing. I guess we can copy this. Right, something like this. And I guess we probably have to wait for the connection to initialize. So can we just for now do something like if connection state is ready, we can do this. We do this. Later, we're gonna have to find some better way to do this, but for now, we'll kind of do it like this. And I guess we'll say here, we'll track bool called is false, and then we'll say here bool called is true. This is not how you write declared variables in this language. Var called is false. Called is true. And then we check if called here. If not called, and this. There we go. So now we kind of have like the event loop set up in a way where this thing will happen once we're initialized, and now we just have to figure out what the fuck that does, right? So we're gonna have like some public function here, call, and I guess we have to like serialize this message, right? So we kind of have this thing. And I guess we say like we have some message here. Endianness is little. Message type is call. Flags is 0. Fix me might have to have flags sometimes, depending on if like we expect a return type or return or something. Major version is always .1. Was it like this? There we go. Body len is 0 because there's no body, but so like theoretically this guy could pass in a body, right? And I think the body would have to be a dbus value. So here we're gonna be like body len is switch on body probably. Here we'll assume that it's empty, and else we'll just like crash. The perfect solution. Okay. Um, you know, body is body. Serial. I think that we have to like maybe allocate a serial number. Right. So this is how we kind of tie back the response value to ourselves. So maybe our dbus connection should hold a serial here. And can we just increment this thing every time? Like just fucking what unit is serial in this thing? Dbus spec. Unit 32. So you could theoretically run out of these, right? So you might want to use some sort of free list or something. But for now, let's just do this. Let's say fix me. What happens when we wrap? Question mark. But for now, we'll just do this. So when we send our message, we say serial is self-serial plus equals 1. Easy. Then we need our headers, right? So header fields is an array of these guys. So I guess we have type and val. Type equals path. Val is string of path. Or maybe path of path. Object, I think, is the correct thing here. So this guy needs to take in, you know, path. He needs to take in destination. Interface. Member. And, like, I guess we'll find out at some point what this means. But for now, we can just kind of copy it, right? So we have destination. Can I please destination? This looks like a string. Okay. Uh-huh. Interface. Interface. Looks like also a string. And then member also looks like a string. Okay. So we have this message now. We've like constructed this thing. So far, so good. And I guess all we have to do is like to send is this. And can we just like serialize this thing? Like to send serialize into self-writer interface question mark? Like, is that crazy? Is that insane? Maybe, but maybe not. Fuck it. Fuck it, dude. Function. Serialize. Self is, you know, this guy, message, and we're going into writer. Maybe she's not growling and is just snoring. She's been like she's been going for a while. I think she's just she doesn't usually snore. She must have her like neck cranked in some way. That's funny. And I guess also we have this example of sending a hello message. So it's probably that this is like the same fucking thing, right? In some way. But we just need to like adjust this to work with what we've got. Yeah, can we also std debug assert that like self endianness is equal to little? Just because like we don't handle this below, I don't think. Okay, so we need like a dbus, like a message writer. who tracks his position for alignment purposes and then has like an underlying IO writer. And then we just start subbing in like everything here, right? So we just say like self endianness. Then like self message type here, right? Self flags. Self version. Self bodylen. Okay. Self serial. Wait, this is so easy. This is so easy. Then here we go like 4, I guess, each of our header fields. And here we align forwards every time. We use the header field dot type here. I think this is a header field, like this is gonna be like path. Yep. We need to write the variant tag from this thing. So I guess we say like tag is header field val tag, which doesn't exist yet, but that's easy. So this is going to return a string, I think, and we switch on self. And it's like, I think it's byte is a Y, if I remember correctly. String is an S. Object is an O. Signature is a G. And U32 is a U, I think. We could check that in here somewhere. Where the fucking letter is here. So it was U32 U, signature G, object O, string S, byte Y. Yep. And then empty, I guess, is like this. I don't really know how to handle this right now. So I'm just going to do this. Unreachable. Just dropped my phone on the ground again. Fuck, it just like falls into my pocket sometimes. It's fucking annoying. Okay, so now... I mean, wait, so before, was signature not in our headers? Because I think signature is supposed to be in the headers. But I guess because the body was empty, we didn't have to send it. Sure. Okay, so here we get the tag, we write the tag. And then are we not supposed to null terminate this thing? We found out the other day that this is supposed to be null terminated. So I think we weren't doing that and we were just lucking out before because of the alignments. So can we do maybe like this? Write byte 0 with pause plus equals 1. Okay. Then we write the string like of, I guess we like switch on the tag, right? Or the val. And depending on what the value is, then we write it out, right? So right now it's like string. Or object. We write string like. And then else we crash because we don't know how to handle that yet. Yeah. Which then I think covers all of this stuff. Then we write out the rest, and I think we're chill. Can we do like std debug assert that mess self body is equal to empty as well? Just like double assert that shit. Because like this, you know, unimplemented otherwise. Okay, so this call function, he needs a body of empty. This thing is mad at 528. these things, I guess, make them const so that we can make them const. So we can, like, initialize them inline. 363 is mad about this. Yeah, what the fuck? Body len here. 194. I guess we'd be doing it here. What is missing here? Oh, we need to return these things? So true. So true. Serialize does not return a message. He just returns void. And then this thing is mad that I think that this call function can't fail. Okay. And then presumably this has to flush the writer. But like there's a good chance this works. Okay. So it looks like he's unhappy in some way, right? We sent this thing. And then the other end is just like hung the fuck up, right? He's just like, yo, what are we fucking doing? What are we fucking doing? So there's many options here. One is that we serialized wrong. One is that we did not. So I would love to change our hello message to use this same flow. Oopsies, what the fuck did I just do? Right? So we just wrote this function that we like took away from send hello or serialize hello message. And we can just kind of convert this now to using like hello message like this, right? And we can just kind of copy paste everything from here. And then hopefully if this still works, then we know that our serialization is at least as correct as it used to be. But you know, it helps us bisect the problem. So this was like this. This was empty, and then the only thing that we have to sort out here is the header fields, which were these. So it was path, type is path. Val is object equals this. Cool. Then we copy paste this a few times. And we have destination as a string of this. We have interface as a string of this. And we have member as a string of this. Okay, so if we can do this by doing hello message serialize hello writer, no, IO writer, like this. And if this still like, if we still like succeed to like exist, then we're chill, but we're not, right? So the fact that this fails means that it's more likely that that we fucked something up when we did this serialized thing. And the only thing I really think we actually changed here that I would maybe be a little worried about is, okay, you know what we should do? We should take this thing and the other thing. So we had the previous serialized hello message, and we can compare the difference, right? So we can say like buff writer, buff 1 is stood IO writer allocating Do we have scratch here? We do, right? No? We don't. Okay. Var buff1. So this is fixed around buff1. So this is buff1 writer. And we'll serialize this into buff1 writer here. Forgot to use string object header values. Did I? I think it's here, right? We should be using the header value from the header type that came in. I think. Because the rest, like the string like part should be the same. But we'll compare. So this takes buff1 writer. And then wait, what's this about? Oh, it's buff1 writer like this. And then we'll do buff2 writer here. Okay. Cool. Which he's mad about because oh, this thing took a dbus message writer, which we can fix. Stood IO writer, and we say like var w is a dbus message writer like this. Pause is 0. Writer is IOW. Okay. So can we then do stood debug print, new is this with buff1 writer buffered and old is buff2 writer. So now we can compare. So our serial change, which is fine. Our length here on the new version is longer. This says 126 instead of 110, so that's a bug probably. Oopsies. All of this is the same. Maybe 21 here instead of 20 is a little concerning. Whoa, yeah, wait, this is like just totally different now, right? So this is all the same. 6, 115, 20. This is different. Then this is just a different string. That's not good. Okay. What am I missing here? So before we wrote 4 headers. Before we wrote 4 headers. We wrote a path of this, destination of this, interface of this, member of this. So what the fuck is the difference? Looks like the string is now prefixed by 47. Yeah, I agree. So 47 is the slash, right? So we're using the slash in this string again. Then like again. And again. We have like the 47. Oh, this is the hex table, decimal table. So 47 is a slash. Yeah, so we're using the slash every fucking time? Like, what in the fuck? Look at the bottom of serialize again. Oh my god. I see what. Yeah. Thank you. You are right. You fucking called that. You called that a long time ago. I just like completely missed it. Thank you. Okay, so now this is all the same. This all looks the same-ish. My pattern matching is mostly there. Boom, 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 boom. Are these the same? They look the same to me now, which is interesting because it's still failing. Oh, but we're not sending it anymore. I forgot. Okay, so can we then serialize this into IO again? Okay, so now this should be the same. Okay. So now we are still getting through. So we now know that the message serialize function is good enough to send hello, right? We're getting past that. However, we are seeing unimplemented signature maybe on the response. Okay, can we see, like, it might be that the play, are we calling play? Can we call pause? The music did stop in my ears. YouTube can't tell, but Twitch can. So that means it's working. It's just that the response now we don't know how to fucking read, which is good to some extent. So he's mad at unimplemented signature, and he doesn't know how to read this thing. So can we just print out the whole fucking shebang for temporarily? Holy shit, this looks like playing God. Yeah, it's kind of sick. So when we get our response here, we should just always print out what it is. Stood debug, print, received this. And we'll just fucking print it as a string and fuck up our terminal. There we go. Oopsies. Okay, that's annoying. Let's put it back on play. That's annoying. Okay, so the thing that we got back. Aha. So the signature is probably Gus. That would be my guess. So if we were to look up this interface, which is this, we could look at what is returned when we call pause or play, and maybe he will explain. Maybe it's maybe it's that it doesn't return anything, but it is a signal maybe that we don't know how to handle. Okay, let's I'm changing my mind. Let's make it so that we do like a best effort parse here. So when we do like parse signature, the thing that's failing, can we return unknown here? Like this? And then just see who fucking complains about this. 188. So probably like this guy, he's like unknown, is supposed to come in here. Okay, if we get a signature of unknown, I think we propagate that into our header. Okay, if we see unknown on this side, this is a crash. We can't create a tag out of an unknown thing. 188 is pissed. Nope, down here. So here, when we're logging this thing, we will just write unknown. Okay. Cool. unimplemented signature, and then we reached an unreachable at 6:51. Whoa, what? Main 6:51? Oh, sorry, main 3:49. So this is on parse. Can we just big scene Madonna way before Nirvana. I think we need to consume such that the body length is consumed as well. So if we get this thing, else we want to consume take body land. Just kind of say like stood log error here, unhandled signature of this. Let's do this. Then I think everything just kind of works. If this kind of works. Toss, I mean. Expected error union type found void. There we go. Okay, here. So now what's going on here? So they gave us a reply serial sender message type ret. Okay. Can we make it so that the unknown signature holds can we do like something like cheeky like this? Well, we do log it already. Unknown, like unimplemented, parse signature. So there's something weird going on here. Land this. Oh, I see. It's an empty signature. It's an empty signature, which is supported. So if this is literally just a null byte, we return empty. Nice. Let's fucking go. Yeah, nice. Nice. So that makes sense. So we called this play function and he goes, okay, all done. So I think we've kind of done this where we've interacted with Spotify. Let's call a function with parameters is what this is supposed to say. Let's try to do something a little bit more advanced, right? So if this guy is there a function on the Spotify thing that we can ask him to seek, right? So we can give him a position here. So I think that this should be pretty straightforward. Volume, I don't want to like, volume is sketchy because I might like, I might deafen us, but seek is reasonable. So I guess though what we're not done though is we also need to like, probably in real life when we're doing this like debug stuff, we're going to be like on the same event loop waiting for something to happen, right? So I think that what we want is when this call completes, we need the like underlying connection to tell us about it, right? So can we actually do this instead? Let's say that this is a segment of like wait for response or like resolve response, right? So when we call this function, I think what we want to pass in is like a completion context. Let's think. So we are going to tag each thing that we send with a number, right? This like serial number that increments on every single value. I think that what we have to do is have a map of that to responses, right? So like here in this thing, we're gonna have like outstanding outstanding requests. And I think this is like a hash map of serial to like some sort of like like completion handler, right? And I guess this thing is probably like a runtime vtable thing, right? I think. I think this is like a completion handler. I kind of want to pull this out, I think. Because like, you know, the thing that we're calling, he might have some state attached to him, right? Like for our example, we want to advance the state machine of our thing, right? So he's gonna have like one of these like, you know, any opaque pointers with a vtable. I guess, and he's gonna have just like a single function, probably on complete. Maybe like success, like yeah. There's probably some sort of like drop or something too, right? For if this thing fails, presumably. But for now, let's just say on finish. And he is going to take, I guess, this context and presumably later he will take in like the value that was returned, but we don't know what that is yet. So for, I guess we do know that it would be like a dbus val, right? Like that's a pretty good candidate here. And let's say this thing can't fail. So then can we just do this? Like this. He has a dbus val, and he just calls like self vtable on finish with self context and val. That feels pretty good. That'd be pretty good. I think you're right, you guys talking chat about somehow when I press play pause on my keyboard, like it resolves any media player. I don't know why I have to type Spotify specifically in this thing. There's something confusing there. I agree. I agree. Okay. So here we need to initialize this thing. Which means that this guy needs some allocators. He needs the, you know, pre-alloc. I guess this is just like std_mem allocator, because we're kind of like hard coding this thing as linear allocator for now, which is fine. So let's say that, you know, if we have more than like 16 outstanding requests, that's a lot. More than 1,000 would be fucking insane. You guys have piqued my interest. grep mprs. So maybe it's that you iterate like all objects. What is like the top level thing? qdbus help. Service name, path, method, args. So when we called this before, this was service name, path, method. Yeah, so we're probably missing some sort of like interface thing. Right? Like it might be that we're missing like providers or something, right? There's probably some way to like list. So I'm gonna delete your message because it's not in English. So I just don't know if you're like fucking like spewing racist shit or just saying hello. So I'm just gonna delete it. So I don't really know, but it does seem like there's probably some like interface thing as well where you could like probe and ask who implements this interface, but I don't know how to do that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was like a root dbus API for that as well, right? Maybe here you could ask for who implements something. Oh, this is like the org free desktop interface dbus. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably some way. Okay, so we want to on call give him a completion context, right? So here we're gonna say that our call like completion handler is something like this. I don't know. Called is false. I guess we probably want some sort of like state. So we're gonna have like here. We're gonna have like init, right? We're gonna have called play. And then maybe after we call play and we get a response, then we'll say like waiting play response. And then we'll advance to something like called seek, right? Waiting seek response. Sorry, this is waiting play response, waiting seek response, because we can immediately advance past those. Right? And so now this guy just has some like how do we do this? Maybe we need to pull this out somewhere. This will be easier if this is up here. So this would be like const like test completion handler. Something like this. I don't know yet. And what was it? It was like on finish. Self. So we like switch on self state. We get self is a pointer to test completion handler, is a pointer cast, a line cast of the context. And then if we are in init, I guess init doesn't exist either, right? I guess it kind of does, but it won't happen here. So if we are waiting play response, we then have like the connection here, and we immediately call the second thing, right? Yeah. And then if we're waiting seek, then we move to waiting seek response. Yeah. And then if we're waiting seek response, we do nothing. Sorry. Haven't quite figured this out yet. I think we want to do like advance and it means that we want this means that we want a callback to happen when initialization is ready. That's kind of what this means, right? Yeah. Which maybe we just won't do right now. That's fine. Okay, so maybe this is more confusing. Maybe like two things makes more sense here. Yeah, so this should be like play completion handler, maybe. So here we're gonna have like test like test state here. Like this. That has this stuff. And here we're gonna hold a pointer to self state. Maybe we don't even need this. right? When play completes, we just queue. There's nothing, we're thinking about this way too much, right? All we have to do is like when play completes, we fucking rip up whatever the second call was. Seek, right? Where was it? Position. And he wants an X? What is X? Int 64. So here we're like, int 64 is 5. It's in microseconds, so 10 seconds in. So that's stood time, you microseconds per second. Let's go 10 seconds of the song that we're currently playing. Yeah, we were thinking way too hard about this. Okay, so now we're waiting for our initial state, and we pass this guy in a completion handler of play completion handler. Which needs to live somewhere long enough though, which is a little annoying, right? Like this play completion handler needs to live. The data associated with this guy needs to live somewhere. But we could do this the other way actually. We could say that this guy, his context is a dbus connection. Yeah. And then this is just like, this just comes like this. On play finished. Here we go. This is starting to feel clean, right? So now we can just do this. Context is on, is connection. And, vtable is on finish is on play finished. Oh, beautiful. Wait, that's wonderful. What is this pissed about now? Why did that change? Dbus connection initial. Oh, he wants the allocator now? Sure. Then this is mad because he's like on finish is a completion handler. And here he wants to register this thing. You know, outstanding requests. It put message serial to send serial with on finish, right? We probably should do like a get or put here, or put no clobber. Nice. Then on completion, we can check this thing, right? So we can like switch, like we can do self outstanding request get header serial, or else return null, or else I guess we do this like if this handler, we call handler on finish with message body. This is all coming together. This should be called message here, not header. Okay. Yes. So true. Stud, this is a generic type. And then here, I guess we don't have anything that we care about after setting volume. So this thing should be nullable. So this thing should say like if on finish h, we push the handler here. Like this. Nice. And then we just have to implement this like int64 thing on dbus val. So this guy needs i64. So instead of int64, we should say i64. And then a bunch of people are going to get pissed off about this, right? So this is on parsing. If we see an I64, we read an I64, which doesn't exist yet. Okay. So let's implement read I64 in the reader. I assume that these things are 8-byte aligned. Yep. So this is 8-byte aligned. Take I64 plus equals 8. Okay. Okay. This guy, I64, has some type tag associated with him, which is X. This guy also wants to write out an I64 like that. Expected type pointer to function dbus val. So we forgot on play finished. On play finished, he needs to take a dbus val here. Okay. This is mad because this can't fail. We'll do this for now. Expected this, found that. So can we do pointer like this? Okay. I'm a little concerned that this will crash. I don't understand. Yeah, this does crash like immediately. So this is probably on send. On main 600. We don't know how to serialize this thing. So if we see an I64, we return 8, I guess. So really, this dbus val should have a function on him. Like he has tag, he should have size, right? So byte is 1. String is unclear. S-len plus 4, probably. I think, because we need like the size of the string plus the 4-byte of length prefix. Signature, I think, is S-len plus 1, I think. I'm not 100% on that. U32, I guess, is just 4. And I64 is 8. So we're not considering alignment of the start. So this would also have to, like, there might be some alignment shit that has to be fixed as well. But this is okay for now. Oh, signature tag here. This actually has to come from self tag plus 1, I think. Something like that. Something like this. Then this used to be like intcast here. Something like that. Okay, there we go. So we're getting another unreachable at 610. Whoa, what? Empty should return 0 here. There we go. And now we're hitting an unreachable where the body writer is not implemented. Right. So here on final output of serialization, we need to switch on self body. And I think this should be pretty straightforward, right? It's like I64 is like W write I64. With the value? Surely? Right? Surely it's like this, right? We'll just do this for now. we need to implement write I64, which would be very similar to write U32, right? It's just 8-byte alignment, takes an I64, and writes I64 here, and then advances by 8. Capital I. 446 is mad because I didn't write try here, probably. Okay. Unreachable at 448. Here. Empty. He does nothing, probably. Okay, so bad news. Didn't work. Bad news, no seeking happened. And the other end hung up on us. He got mad. So it could be this. I mean, it's got to be this, right? It's got to be that writing I64 here is just doing the wrong thing. So I guess we have to compare again with somebody who works. Oh, we kind of did resolve response at some point, and at some point we started working on sometime before now. Sometime before now we started working on this. Okay, so something here is wrong. So I guess it would be cool if we could compare with QDBus. Right, so if we could do this thing again, but we call position here, and we call position to 1 million microseconds. Okay, so bad news is that I feel like this isn't doing anything. Okay. Does he not support it? Oh, seek. Oh, interesting. So he doesn't support that position API, even though we found it in spec. So can we call seek? Okay, so that does something. What does that do? Does it go forward? What the fuck? I mean, it's definitely doing something. Oh, I see. It's seeking forwards by the time in microseconds. So if I do like negative 10,000 here, it goes backwards. So we can try calling that instead. We can try calling that instead. So we're looking for seek of negative 10,000. Okay, so the question is did that do anything? No. Right? Not doing shit. Not doing shit. Position returns the current position. Oh yeah, I'm a dumbass, I guess. Okay, so now that we have two versions of the same thing that work, method versus properties in spec. Ah. Yeah, my bad. My bad. Good call. So this thing has set position was something that we maybe could have called to go like directly, but that's fine. Okay, so let's try to figure out this seek shit. So we need to compare when we call seek. So that does something. Can we do strace again with seek negative 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we are looking for the message that has seek in it, which is hard in this world. So can we turn off the -x for a second? Seek. So this is line 10 in this thing. Okay. So let's take a look at this thing and see if it's interesting to us. So I think we do the same thing where we just kind of paste this message here and we see if our parser can understand it. Which it can't because it doesn't know how to handle i64 inputs yet, which is fine. We have to implement that somewhere. So if he sees an X, it's i64, and then presumably the parser doesn't know how to handle that yet. I64 here. Can we go read I64? Body is equal to this. Okay. Cool. Oh, you know what? This thing is split. I saw it here. The body is in a separate. They do a split send, a vectored send, where they put the header in one section and the body in the next section and put them in one syscall. So when we copied that into our message here, that was missing on the end as well, which is probably where the actual failure we saw came from. But we still do need to implement read i64, which we do. So I think we're chilling. Okay. So we see this, which doesn't seem any different than what we're doing, no? We can copy this. Play on, like, what was it? We called it like play finish or something? Here we go. So it's path, Spotify, player, seek, signature, I64. So I guess the only thing that could be happening here is that we're serializing something incorrectly, right? I wonder if... Okay, let's... can we compare their message, for... Can we print... Okay, let's make this global for a second. And then we can compare this with what we serialize over here. Can we call... Maybe it would be nice to have like mock call for a second. So we can have a call with writer, maybe. Or maybe even just like make message might be the play here. Right, so he kind of has all this stuff. Where this does rely on the serial, so we can pass the serial in, I guess, to make it so that he doesn't require anything fancy. Okay, so now we have this function that can just be returned. Maybe this actually belongs on message, huh? Like, this function should be more like function message dot call, right? There we go, function call returns a message. Yeah. And then here we can then just, in main even, we can like take this same thing and we can say like make me message call. And can we serialize this? Into, you know, buff writer. Yeah. Something like this. Const buff writer is var buff writer. Stood IO writer fixed around buff. Cool. 1 for the serial. What's he pissed about? Okay, cool. And then we can compare this with stood debug print. We have message here. So can we compare what they gave us with what we have, which is buff writer buffered, and we can compare. Fuck. Switch on corrupt value. What the fuck? What the fuck? Does this have to be like something like this? Message is this. Message dot serialize. Does it have to be some shit like this? Out. I don't know, man. No, he's still pissed. That's interesting. So this is at 217 as a result of out serialize at 471. So header field comes from header fields. Oh, fuck, because this is temporary. Yeah, my bad. Which means that this needs like alloc, which is weird. Yeah. Weird. But I guess if we are returning a dynamic array that goes out of scope, we do have to return a dynamic array that goes out of scope. It is true. Here you go. 422. Expected type this, found that. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh. There we go. Nope, still no. This guy is mad now because this can fail. So true, because he allocates. So true. All right. So we should new line when we print. Could you do a format method instead and then use format buff print or alloc print with that? Maybe? No, because I want the header fields to kind of be in their like natural form, which I think is not something that is like super reasonable. It's not like a string. Okay, this is all the same. 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 Here, it's different at the very end. At the very end, it's different. Right? So... Did we forget signature? I think you're advancing the 8 bytes twice. But it should, if it's already aligned, it shouldn't move. But yeah, I agree. That is something to be concerned about. Here, I think we forgot to pass the signature field in the header. So I think if there is a signature, we have to do that. So okay, we've got a lot of shit kicking around. Hold on. Um. Function like function call. This guy, he needs to say like, you know, he needs to say that like if there is a body, he needs to append the body signature here, right? He needs to be like signature val equals, you know, with the signature here. So I think this all becomes like we create. Can we do this instead? This might be a little nicer. If we take in like buff, like field buff, as an array of header field kvs, and then we say stood array list of header field kv init buffer of field buff. We'll say like ret header fields, or maybe we just even say like header fields. We kind of like initialize this initially. Append slice with all of the things that we're doing right now. Right, so we kind of like take this stuff, boom, 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 and this is essentially bounded. And then here we say switch on body. So if it's empty, we do nothing. Else, we do like a header fields append bounded with type is signature and val is signature. Okay. This is confusing. I guess he just says, I am a signature equals tag name, like tag. How do I extract the enum, like the field of a union? I think I just give him the body. I think it's just like this. So this signature wants a signature tag, and then we like that automatically comes out of the body, and then later we need to serialize that somewhere. We'll see how that comes out. Header fields items here. So someone is going to get mad, presumably. Somewhere, but we'll get there. Okay. So if I call this now, he's going to get mad at 488 that he doesn't know what to fucking do about this. Right? So if we do this for a second, he's going to compile but be wrong. And so we need to say something like, based off the signature you see, we need to header field writer write string like. This is not right. We have write variant tag. So I think this is, we do write variant tag of v. And then everything kind of just works. I feel like. But this thing needs to be like tag. So function tag is kind of on the wrong guy, to be honest. Feels like this should kind of be more on signature tag. Maybe not. Maybe. Maybe both. uh, can we do like signature tag, tag self? I think that's kind of how we want to do this for now. We'll kind of figure out where this is supposed to go later. Okay. So now, do these look the same? Is the question. I think so. So now we are also exporting this like tag value, and these things look like identical now. So now we just need to convert this so that both paths call the same guy. So our function call on this is the message call. So somewhere we have another function call here. And so he wants to construct this message in the same way that we did down here. So it was like, we have some field buffer and we call to send that thing. So this is self serial here. We need to use all of the right fields here. So this is path, destination, interface, method, body, member, body. And now that this is using the same thing, it should just work. Yeah, so it sounded like we stuttered, right? So if we go here, keep above others, and we look for the seek bar here, we do see it moving. So that is good. That is good. That means that we can now call a method with at least one parameter. Cool. So that brings us to 1.5 hours in. I guess the question now becomes like, what do we do for like somebody who wants to interact with the higher level concept of like of media player? Like, what does that look like? You know? So like media player API? Right, so like probably that person would have like media player, right? And they would have a function on here that's like play. And I would like to do something with like a query function as well. But I guess, yeah, I guess it is just that you have an abstraction that looks like this, where he has play, who, like, the media player holds like a connection inside, right, like this. Right? And he's just like, yo, if you want to hit play on this thing, it's literally just like self connection call, like with your shit, right? And then on here, I guess you would have like on complete. And this would have to like convert into something a little bit more interesting, right? So maybe like the media player on complete would want to get the dbus value back, but maybe we want to like convert that into some sort of interesting message. Yeah, so can we call something that retrieves a value? Right? I want to do something that queries as well. So I want to actually call position, because I think that gives us more information about how we would design this thing, right? So if we call position instead of seek here, that would be an empty body, right? And he's mad that position doesn't exist. Hold on. How sure, like we surely have a property on here that we can get something out of. Here. Org mprs media player 2 player position. So it must be that call is the wrong thing here if we're trying to read a property. Right, so if we're trying to read a property, it's probably that the message type. I don't know what else it would be. Right? Can we call qdbus? Can we call position here and just see, does this thing return something for me? It does, right? He returns this timestamp back. Did I stutter? Yes. Actually, bravo. Yeah, perfect. We did want him to stutter. So this does do something. Maybe we strace this again and see what he does. Oopsies. So, okay. Here, this is line 10 again. It's always line 10, really. Okay, so can we go back in here? And I would love to yoinkies and take a little peek at what this message is. Oopsies. What the fuck? There we go. Okay. So they are sending a call. Yeah, they're not doing anything crazy. Not doing anything crazy. Can we compare with our call? So we just change this position. We put empty in here. But in otherwise, we should be the same, right? So what are we doing different? This is exactly the same. Right? They're lining up perfectly, which means that the numbers must match up. So that means that they're a problem. Like, so if that is the case, why is this returning something that says, hey, there's no such method position? Like, how is that possible? How is that possible? Who needs diff when you have perfectly good goo in your eye sockets? Yeah, I mean, position's not a method, no? Yeah, I mean, this is different here. We did need diff, it turns out. This single digit is different. 5 and 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, byte 9. Like the bytes of the message body? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Serial business. Oh, the serial is different. Fine, that's expected. Serial is different. But you're like, maybe message type? No, I mean, he's coming in as a call, right? He says he's a call. So if he is doing a call and we're doing a call, what's the difference between ours and theirs? It has to be that like maybe they're doing some like pre-initialization in some way, right? We're skipping over a lot of the other calls they're doing. I wonder if you have to register to read a dbus property. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, they must be doing something else. Right? It must be that like some of this preamble stuff, it matters, right? So here they are sending hello, then they are introspecting the API, which we assume doesn't matter. Then here they are, what is this? They are they're looking for match on this thing, get name owner, which really just don't feel like they matter. It really doesn't feel like they fucking matter. It really doesn't feel like it matters. Can we? Okay. I'm just gonna do a real quick like std debug assert std mem equal like maybe we missed something, right? Maybe. So like out like can we look at like buff writer buffered versus the message that we copied? Like these are the fucking same, right? Oh, serial. We need to use 5 here for them to perfectly match. Yeah, they're the fucking same. They're the fucking same. Can we also log maybe we're like corrupting something? Like, can we do this? Okay. So we're sending. Hang on, let's do this. Okay. This is happening quite early, which is interesting. That seems bad, right? I think serial has to. Oh, you know what? We might be initializing serial at 1, which is being used for the hello message, which is a little fucked. Okay, so now the position call is right at the end. And then we. Oh, wait. Then we receive. Like, why is this happening so early? Am I fucking high? Like, shouldn't this only be happening after the play handler completes? Right? Am I high? Like, okay, so this is happening now. So we send play here. We get back. We send play with serial 2. So early. So early. We must not be waiting. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I guess it is after we send hello. Is it sending this? Yeah, maybe. Sure. So maybe we're sending that's maybe okay. So then we get some shit back. We send the position request after we send play. And he says, no such method. Which is just so confusing. It would be cool to be able to go in and replay strace logs and remove stuff we don't think matters and see what happens. Yeah, it does feel like that is where the next step goes, right? Because like it seems likely that QDBus is doing something. I mean, the other option here is that we just also do all the things that QDBus is doing, right? Like maybe we really do need to run add match or like get name owner. Maybe like. Oh wait, he calls it twice. That's interesting. That's interesting. Hold on. Can we look at like the bigger strace logs? Can we look at the strace logs kind of without the filtering? Looks like they send something necessarily when it receives unknown method. Good call. Yeah, I see what you're saying, right? So here, if we look for the position first request here, he must get a response of unknown method. Interesting. Okay, so then they call send message again right here with get name owner. Then they get the name owner colon 190. And then they send it again with get. With, oh. So parameters, I see what you're saying. So there's a get function on the dbus API org free desktop properties get. So he's calling on this object org mpris on our media player 2 using the Spotify interface. Sorry, I forget what these like parameters are. So it's Destionation. So he's saying on this object, media player 2, go to this destination, Spotify, and call this interface get properties function get. And then his value is 2 parameters probably. Right? So on this fucking interface of properties, I guess is what we want to look at. So there's a function get who has 2 parameters. Sick. Okay, so this is kind of interesting too because now we need to support 2 parameter function calls, which we don't support right now. Right? So this is presumably a we probably just hook 2 S's in the interface name. But we need to now be able to represent something much more complicated in a dbus value, right? Dbus val right now can only represent like single values. As an aside, I don't really get why the object path is generic, but the interface is specific. That seems backwards. I agree. It seems fucking broken. But maybe we could look at mpris spec dbus. Like maybe you query a well-known object, right? And he must implement these. Can we look at like q dbus org? Can we like query objects in this thing? There's probably some like dbus API to query object properties in some way. We had like introspectable, right? So like we could go to org this on this interface, look at this object and introspect it. And can we check like what interfaces he exposes? He has this, he has this. Right, so this guy does implement org mprs dot media player dot player dot player, right? It maybe it's that thing was like a name or something that it returns. Like, where does that Spotify come from? qdbus help. Oh, that's the service name. That's the service name. So, each guy who registers with the bus has a name. His name is I am an MPRIS Spotify. Then we query that. We nowhere in this QDBus thing list interfaces, right? The method is just like implemented on that path directly. So I'm confused though, because we are using interface in here, right? We are. So presumably we take Spotify off this thing and it still works, would maybe be my guess. Or unless interface is the wrong term, maybe the header like service name is more aligned than interface. You know what I mean? There's something there. Because when we look at the QDBus strace, they really are using MPRIS Spotify as the interface here, this 6. So it'd be interesting to look at that specification actually for message type interface maybe. Is this the right fucking thing? Marshalling message protocol. Hello? Where the fuck were we? Marshalling? So, header, interface to invoke the method call on, or a signal is emitted from. Optional for method calls required for signals. The special interface, this, is reserved. Implementation should not send messages with this. Oh, sorry. Destination. Hold on, are we idiots? We have destination and interface are both being sent. So we are calling this with. Oh, no, okay. Yeah. So destination, we are saying, hey, we have a service named this thing. This is our destination. And this is the interface, is the media player 2 player interface. So probably if we look up implementers of media player 2, like maybe Spotify returns as one of those implementers or something like that. You know what I mean? So this is like the Spotify unique name. And presumably if you had like VLC open, you could do like VLC instead or something like that, right? Okay. So we were going to do what we were going to do. We were going to try to call property get. But that required our dbus value. So our body needs to get way more complex now, right? It means that our serialization needs to support dbus val or something. This guy needs to support returning like many arguments, or our call function needs to take an array of dbus vals, is probably more reasonable. And then which means that our signature needs to get more advanced, right? So right now we have signature as a single signature tag, so this would have to become an array as well, probably. But even then, it gets like a little bit more complex because you can like do structs and stuff in there too. So I'll think about it. It might not be worth doing another stream on this, right? Because the idea of sending multiple values in the body might be as simple as like an array here and an array here. It might be that simple, but it might not. So I'll think about it. it might be that we kind of like say we're kind of done here, because I think that like the next steps of this are pretty obvious, right? It's like this, we would construct like an MPRIS struct, right? And the methods that don't return are obvious, right? Play and pause, they just like construct messages and send them. Something like properties, like, or something that was like position, I think that we would just have some API on here that is like, you say like on position, right? And you pass in something here, maybe he gets wrapped in some way where the dbus value gets converted into a well-known type or something. But maybe not as well. So I don't think there's anything like, I think we've kind of covered like the hard part. And we'll see what we do tomorrow or the next day. I think I'm not streaming tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving in Canada. So I should be back on Monday though. And I don't know what we'll do. Maybe we'll do Wayland backend for our compositor so we can like render a window manager and a window manager. Maybe we'll work more on this dbus stuff. Maybe it'll be like a chill day. But we'll be back Monday. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we saw, we stream most days. We aim for 12:34 Pacific time. It is 4 now. So anywhere between 3.5 hours ago now if you're watching live. There's a YouTube link in the Twitch description where feature development goes up. Some things do not go up there. It really depends on if it's like something that is, we want to keep it to like 2 hours a day and something that's like titleable and thumbnailable and all that. So there is a second half of the stream that we kind of just do more background work in, refactoring, reading. Today was about trying to implement like a low level like memory pool container. So if you want to see like the stuff that is not on the YouTube, that is either live or archived on Patreon, YouTube members, or Twitch VODs if you pay in the appropriate spot. I think that's it. YouTube, peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.